Hi, this is Geert with the Black Atlantic.
Actually, I'd love to talk to some about Creative Commons. I tell people about like Jamendo and sites like that all the time, and people are like, "What? What?" And then, so I always have to.
People in the record industry don't get it yet.
Yeah.
Actually, it's still sometimes. Well, obviously, I know a little bit about it because we release a record in Creative Commons, but it's still confusing to me because of the old systems. So old.
Right, and so that was part of one of the questions was that I think it's hard for people here to not think of it as a physical thing to own.
Yeah.
And have anymore. You can't have that. You used to have the record. You had the CD. Now they don't have that, and people aren't sure what to do with that.
Well, I mean, we still sell the physical copy, and we just happen to be sold out right now here at the show. But yeah, we love selling the physical copy. I get the most excitement out of selling someone a big vinyl record. I love vinyl. I love the artwork when it's like, when it's well done, it looks good. Wow, the acoustic is really tearing it up. That's awesome. So I still like selling the physical copy. And the first few hundred records that we sold off the new record were actually handmade copies, just because we wanted to make a limited amount of handmade things. So yeah, I really like that stuff. But this is 21st century. People can download music, and it gives bands who are small, like us, access to a large audience, potentially, without having to, have a distribution deal, have a huge label, have a huge marketing scheme. It's a very kind of like do-it-yourself, word-of-mouth kind of relationship, and it's awesome. It's worked out really well for us, and yeah, I highly recommend any band that tries to play in front of an audience to just get the record out there and not hide it in iTunes or any of those web shops, because what you do is, if you don't have an audience yet, you're a small band, first you want to be heard, and then you can worry about making money sometime. And that's what we did. We just released a record for free. We had it up on a website called Mini Nova, which is similar to a website like the Pirate Bay, and people could download the torrents and get the album with that little in that way, and then word just started spreading, and that's, I think, I'm not really sure how many times the record's been downloaded now, but it's well over 60,000 times. So it's awesome. I mean, we didn't make any money off it, but at least now we can come to Chicago, play a show, and have tons of people hear it. That's amazing.
The people who buy it, get your free Commons music, it's a different type of fan than someone who might have bought your CD. You think maybe in some ways they might go out of their way more for you, or?
Well, I would say that's a very small percentage.
Yeah.
I mean, off the 60-something thousand downloads that we've had, very few then took the next step to buy the actual physical CD or to donate money or whatever. I don't even think we have the donate button on our website. That was never like that wasn't what we intended initially. We just wanted an audience. I mean, we spent a decent amount of money on recording the album, with all the stuff that goes with the mixing and the mastering and all that stuff, and the production of it, and the paint for the artwork, and we made it back within 2 months.
So you'd say the records did that, or was it?
Yeah, just selling the record directly to people afterwards, like even with the production costs of the record and everything. We just tore our asses off, and that's how we made our money back. And we're not like a wealthy band. We came into Chicago flat broke, but that's no different from any other touring band, because touring is expensive and everything. But you can do it if you're frugal, and if you're not very demanding, and you work hard. I think any band can, not necessarily any band, but if you're a good band, then you can make a living off of music, and it can be done in different ways. And maybe bands should just not think every band wants to play big club and all these things, and we happen to be here tonight at the Empty Bottle, which is amazing for us, but we played shows for a year or so because we could, because our music allows us to do this. We played in living rooms. We set up our own house show tours, and things like that, and it combined very well with the free downloading thing, because eventually, you start building an audience, and then you can take your music to the club and say, well, we have an audience. Look, there's this many downloads. If you put us in your club, people will show up. And that's going outside the regular channels of getting a show or making money, because all of a sudden you're creating your own avenue. You're creating an avenue directly to your audience, and then when you have that going, there's so many more possibilities of making the money. Making the money comes once you have an audience, not before it. So I know I keep saying that, but I think that's just the whole point.
Speaking of money, how'd you find South by Southwest?
What do you mean, like, speaking of money?
Well, I mean, this guy was pretty much a cash grab these days. How do you find the crowds there?
Well, the shows were terrible for us, to be honest. It wasn't very interesting to play the showcase or the extra shows that we played. And I wasn't really expecting us to play like a show like tonight. Like, we had your blog and then another blog like really backing us, and we had a lot of downloads already from people in Chicago, and the exposure that we got, like, that led me to believe, like, okay, if we play Chicago, there's going to be some people that will want to see it. It was a big surprise to see this many people and have them be so into it, but that was different than South by Southwest. When you play South by Southwest, you have to keep in mind that you're one of the 1,900 bands playing, and if you're not, that's when if you have a bigger label and you have a big PR firm, you can kind of make a dent, and you can get people to come out to your show and all that stuff. The reason why we went was not necessarily because of the showcase, although it did allow some people who were interested in the band or who became interested in the band because they saw that we were playing South by Southwest, and they became interested in the band because they saw us in the list of bands. It gave them an opportunity to go see us, because basically it's one big gathering. It's a gathering of all the big important industry people. They're all there. So if they find you worthwhile to check out, they'll swing by. They'll take a look. They'll take a listen, and that's very valuable for a small band like us, because we get a chance to actually meet these people in the flesh, even for a quick, brief moment, and leave an impression. And then, of course, you want to play the best possible show ever, but there's enough. Every band struggles at South by Southwest to play there, because they're one of the many bands, and there's so much to check out, and you have so very little time to play. So I think the sort of networking aspect of South by Southwest has become way more important than the actual playing in front of a crowd and that, which kind of sucks because it's a music showcase, but at the same time, I guess that's what it is now.
What would you say the major difference between the European and American audiences are?
American audiences have a lot more of a they'll go see their favorite band a lot more often than a European audience. If you play Amsterdam with your American band and you've played 6 months ago, a lot of people in Europe will be like, well, I saw them 6 months ago, why would I go see them again? Here in the States, you can play your hometown, I don't know, once every 2 months, and people will keep coming. So it seems like here it's more of a lifestyle thing, whereas in Europe it's more of a cultural thing. You go see the band because it's like this happening. It's kind of like a cult, like going to a museum or whatever. Once you've seen the painting, if you're a real fan, maybe you'll go back one more time, a couple more times. But usually it's the novelty of it, and then you go on to the next thing. I think that's maybe. And that doesn't necessarily speak for us because we tour a lot in Europe, and it seems like whenever we play in the same towns a lot, and it seems like our audience is still growing. But I would say in general, that's sort of the difference between a European audience and an American.